Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome back to Beyond the Gates Debates with Toya Creates. So, we are just watching the episode of Beyond the Gates in real time. I have to watch at 4 o'clock because I'm a busy stay at home mom, entrepreneur, all the things. So, this is when I have the time to watch this soap, and I want you guys to watch along with me. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. We are watching, what is today? Tuesday, August 18th, Beyond the Gates. Okay, so we're opening up in the country club gym. I think these guys are practicing for the upcoming basketball drive that Martin is doing. So we see Ted, Carlton, Smitty, and Martin. Okay. Oh gosh, they pulled Smitty into this basketball practice. Mm. Oh, where's Kyle? There's Kyle. So Kyle is on the team as well. And Dani was making a joke about this last week in that the team should be called Team Nicole because it's made up of a lot of her boyfriends and ex-husbands. Crazy. Okay. Next, we see Nicole and Vanessa at the country club just catching up. Lovely dress, Vanessa. Per usual. I like how she dresses. Nicole, too. So Vanessa's talking about how she and Joey have been out of rhythm since his sister has showed up. And Nicole is shocked to hear that Joey has a sister. And Vanessa's like, Heather is very real and very charming. But we know Joey does not trust his sister. But Vanessa likes Heather. She says Dani likes her too. But Joey keeps warning me not to get too close. And I can't for the life of me figure out why. Why do you need to know why? He knows his sister better than you do. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Joey's getting an update on Heather's whereabouts from one of his henchmen. I don't know his name. Somebody tell me. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. So this guy was staking out Heather's hotel all last night. She was there all night and then she left today and she went into the lobby. And Joey is not pleased with this. He's like, how do you expect to get some real intel when you don't have eyes on Heather? I mean, fair. Oh, it's time for the intro. I hope today's episode is a little more exciting than yesterday's because, I'm here for the drama. Okay, let's see. So we are at Orphe Jeans and we see Leslie and Eva, and she's checking up with Eva just to make sure she's okay after this transplant and the scar. And Eva is not pleased that Leslie ran to Ted to tell him what was going on. Hmm. Hmm. So Leslie is saying that Ted is in a unique position to help, being that he loves Eva and he is an actual plastic surgeon. And Eva said that doesn't make me feel better, but you know who made me feel better? Isaiah. She loves how Isaiah says the scar doesn't change her and she doesn't look any different to him. And they both agree that Isaiah is a keeper. And Eva didn't even know it was possible for a man to have her back like that. And this is what she wants for Leslie. She wants the same kind of love in Leslie's life. And Leslie claims she's good. And Eva said, are you though? Does Marcel even hold it down like that? Because lately he hasn't even been around. Back at the hospital, we see Bill and his long lost wife, Hayley. Bill is ready to leave, and Hayley is like, "This is the best place for you." And Bill said he needs his bed, his food, and his wife. I'm sure he wants Dani. Hayley said it's awfully lonely in that big house without you. And he said, "How about we make up for it?" Now they so nasty. So she in the hospital bed with Bill, and mm, it feels so good to have your arms around me again. Maybe I'll move it. And then Shanice walks in and she says, "Oh, the hell you will." Time to fast forward through these commercials. So it looks like we're going to be talking about this upcoming basketball game, all of Nicole's many, many, many men. What else? Vanessa and Joey and Heather, of course, and Bill and Hayley. So let's see what we're talking about today with this bunch. Okay, so we are back in the gym. We see Smitty, Martin, and Kyle. Smitty has completed his 1 day of helping because they were teasing him so much last week, like white men can't jump, talking about this basketball. Okay. Mhm. It is so weird to me how they just all interact with each other, knowing that Nicole has been with 3 men in this room. It's so weird. And I'm sure this is weird for Martin to be interacting with maybe his future stepdaddy. But Kyle is happy to help as he was a star athlete back in the day and he went to the championship and blah, blah, blah. So then Kyle, Ted, and Carlton are talking. This is so weird. And Ted's like, "Oh, what are you doing today, Kyle?" And Kyle said, "I'm heading over to see Nicole." And Ted's heading to Orpheus later to see Shanice. And Ted asked Carlton, "What about you?" And Carlton said, "What?" Because Carlton is the odd man out. So Ted wants to know how Carlton feels with that Nicole has clearly chosen Kyle. So now we are back at the country club with Nicole and Vanessa, and Vanessa is telling Nicole about Heather and her great energy, how she can walk in a room in Milan or Italy and belong in both, and she's more extroverted than Joey, and that may explain the difference between Joey and Heather. Pick a book, Mace. Sorry. So Nicole is saying just because they are oil and water doesn't necessarily mean anything. And if Joey is putting up these boundaries, Vanessa, maybe you should listen. But Vanessa, per usual, just she's like, "From what I've seen, Heather wants to fix that and she doesn't come off to me as fake." Thank you, Nicola's saying, "You have known Heather for all of 5 minutes. Joey has known her for a lifetime. You need to listen." But Vanessa's like, "Oh, look at how things were between me and Deanne. And if I would have given up, I would have lost her." And Nicola's saying that is very different. She is young and she was grieving her father. And Vanessa thinks that since Heather and Joey are the only remaining members of their family, that is important too. And Nicole says, "Stop dancing around and just ask Joey how he feels." And Vanessa says she did, and she could tell Joey was not giving her the full story. And Nicole said that usually means whatever happened between the two of them must have cut deep. She's putting on her psychiatry hat. So we are back at the casino. Joey is pissed at this worker and he needs to know the reason Heather has come back. And it is not simply bonding, she is meeting someone. And if this guy and Randy can't figure it out, okay. The guy says he's on it, and Joey said, "You better be." Now, Shanice is back in this, or we're back at the hospital, and Shanice is telling Hayley basically to get her ass out of this hospital bed. They are for patients only, and she needs both of her feet on the floor at all times. And Hayley said, "You're not the boss of me." And Shanice said, "Inside these walls, I am. And you spend enough time in this hospital, and you shouldn't be bending the rules." Thank you, Shanice. I cannot wait for Hayley to be exposed, jailed. I am so sick of her nonsense. So Shanice is like, if you don't want to be banned from this spot, I suggest you keep your hands off of Bill. And Hayley is making a big deal. Are you suggesting hugging my husband is dangerous? And Shanice is like, you and I both know y'all are not going to stop at a hug. Okay? It is wise for cardiac patients to avoid activities that elevate their heart rate, sex included. And Hayley's like, oh, yes, because Hayley has been trying to kill this man for like a full calendar year. And I am very, very, very much sick of this storyline. So this latest poisoning that she did is why Bill is in this hospital right now, because his heart needed to really stop. They have been supposedly running tests on Bill this entire time he's been in the hospital, but to date, we have not had an update. We have no inkling as to why this man has ended up in the hospital. So I am wondering when Beyond the Gates is going to get to the diagnosis, please, so we can get rid of Hayley. I am so sick of this girl. I cannot be the only one. I mean, I love a good villain, but Hayley is just annoying, and this has gone on long. So, Shanice is still checking Bill's vitals, and she wants to keep his vitals steady. And Bill said, I'm not going to be celibate just because my heart stopped a few days ago. If sex is that important, my God, today. So Hayley's playing the dutiful wife, and Shanice thanks her for being the adult in the room because Hayley's basically saying you need to listen. Yes, that's true, but So Bill said, you see that? Shanice is doing too much. My cardiologist didn't say anything about not having sex. This man is in the hospital bed, tube in nose, worried about sex. That's why he's in this bed in the first place. But whatever. So he's still trying to convince Hayley otherwise. And it would be negligent if we didn't put it to the stress test. She must have the deepest, you know what? I can't. So she's back in this bed as soon as Shanice has left. Hayley and Bill are being nasty in the hospital bed. Disgusting. So we're back at Orphe Jeans, and Eva wants to know what Marcel is to Leslie. And Leslie said, ooh, he makes me feel good. He's my little boy toy. Boy toy? That man is 70 years old. But Eva's like, okay, yuck, gross. Does he show up and does he treat you well? Thank you, Eva. And Leslie is like, what is with the interrogation? And Eva said, I am your daughter and I don't even know him that well. It's not like you've invited us to dinner or anything, because Leslie's been all up in Isaiah and Eva's business. But Leslie says that she and Marcel have an interesting or unique relationship. It's just them and they don't involve other people and they don't need validation from everyone. And Eva said, maybe you just don't want any witnesses. I wouldn't want to witness it either. Ooh, Leslie said she feels great when she's with Marcel. He gets her jokes. And if she gets a speedy ticket or something, he'll make it poof, disappear. So she only with Marcel to see what she could get. Marcel was supposed to be cozying up to Leslie to figure out what she was doing, but that has long ended. But Eva wants to make sure, like, are you really in it for the right reason with Marcel, or are you just waiting for dad, basically? Ooh, back to the gym. Carlton and Ted are talking about how Nicole chose Kial and how Carlton basically broke it off. He walked firmly into the friend zone. He loves competing on the court, but in real life, it's just messy. Okay, I mean, you shouldn't have gone after your ex-best friend's wife any damn way, but I feel no sympathy for Carlton. None. So Carlton's just thinking about, like, oh, if he and Nicole were meant to be, she wouldn't have ended up with Ted in the first place. Why wasn't that your first thought? And Carlton is saying, Ted is finally being honest and saying, I was never cool with you dating my ex. And there were many days I wanted to deck you on sight. And Carlton basically said, if you feel it froggy, jump, but not in a bad way. He was like, well, if you still want to work that out, I'm sitting right here. Why? So Ted is standing up. He ain't going to do nothing. He said he's a lover, not a fighter, just like MJ. But next time, that's yo, basically. So they're still friends. He couldn't be my friend after sleeping with my spouse, but if y'all like it, I love it. Back to the country club, Nicole and Vanessa are still talking, and Nicole is telling Vanessa she needs to understand what she signed up for in dating Joey, and there is a cost. Thank you very much, Nicole. And Vanessa's like, oh, so you wouldn't tolerate Joey. And Nicole was like, there's a lot about Joey I wouldn't tolerate, but you are not me. So Martin and Smitty are walking up to the table, and he's saying, you're looking at 40% of a winning team. And Smitty was like, he was the moral support. They are still going after Smitty for being the white boy on the basketball team. Smitty can't jump. Then they head off. Okay, whatever. Why were they there interrupting this team? So now Vanessa is like, oh, that's quite a team. You got your whole little starting 501 team. And Vanessa's like, there's only one way all that testosterone can fit on that court and not come to a head. They're keeping their eyes on the prize, which is Nicole. So Vanessa clearly must not know that Nicole has made a choice, and that choice is Dr. Feelgood, Dr. Sexy Kial. And I was so happy that was her choice. I don't have nothing against Carlton for real, but I just always considered him to be a snake. If he was so ready to jump in the bed with his best friend and business partner's wife, you are not a friend, you are not a snake, and you don't deserve to win. So whatever, I don't care how he feels. Now, back at the gym. So Ted and Carlton are talking about how it took Ted to catch feelings for Shanice or just someone else to truly let Nicole go. I don't believe he's truly let her go. But they are talking about how Kial is a good guy, and Kial just happened to overhear, and he was like, I appreciate the vote of confidence. And Carlton said he is serious about remaining friends with Nicole, and if you hurt her, they are gonna beat his ass, basically. So Kial likes that, they care about Nicole so much. He said it says a lot about you guys, and he's just happy they can all be cordial. Couldn't be me. I'm petty. Anyways, Martin and Smitty are back home. Smitty is wore out. Martin's looking around. Oh, they want to be frisky. I know it. Martin's like, you hear that? I don't hear anything, said Smitty. And Martin said, exactly. We have the whole place to ourselves, so you know what that's about to be. Or maybe they're also kind of talking about how they're about to be empty nesters. And Smitty said, it's a little too quiet if you ask me. Why don't we change that? Yes, make a noise. A little afternoon delight. Okay. Back at the country club, Nicole and Ted are crossing paths in the foyer. She's asking about updates on the basketball game. And Ted says, from what I hear, you deserve a congratulations yourself. Word is you made a major roster move. And Carlton casually mentioned how he ended things, and Nicole said it was mutual, and she was just relieved they were both on the same page. And Ted hopes that Nicole and Kial are happy together. Does he? Ted always figured she would get serious with someone, but playing the field, no one can win a championship like that. So then Nicole is asking, does that mean if things are going well with you and Shanice? And he says, yes, they're going good. And they say that they can be happy for each other. Ted says, peace looks good on you, Nicole. Take care of yourself. Now, what happened to all these fantasies Nicole was having a couple months back? Because she was having fantasies about her and Ted getting that old thing back, but we just dropped the ball on that. Okay, we're at the hospital. We are at the desk where Shanice and Ashley are. And Shanice is telling Ashley how she walked in on Bill and Hayley almost hooking up. And Shanice was like, not quite, but if I would have came like 5 more minutes, I would have had to gouge my eyes out. Ashley's disgusted as well. She's like, that is my bestie's dad. I don't want to hear about him slapping skins with this. Oh, he's married. Shanice said, thank God it was a you because of scheduling. And she was in there breaking things up like horny teenagers at prom. It's so gross. Some people just have no couth. So Shanice tells Ashley to keep an eye on it, but Shanice plans on getting significantly closer to Ted or her lunch break, as if they haven't had nookie in the hospital. Or have they? I don't know. Okay. Someone's up Bill's room. His alarm's going off. Ashley said, okay, I can get scary too. Now, why would did they forget that that man is hooked up to several monitors? So they're clearly in there doing the nasty, and his heart rate is going up. And of course, the nurse's station is going to get the alert. So let's get through these commercials. Like, y'all, this is the best part of being an oldie but goodie. Yes, I have a DVR and it comes in clutch all the time. Come on, commercials. Okay, we're past the halfway point. So we're almost there, y'all. Today's a little more entertaining than yesterday. Like, I was really let down with the Heather Andre reveal because they revealed nothing. They just revealed that it was Heather. Oh, okay. Anyways, back at the country club. Ooh, Kyle is greeting Nicole and Vanessa. Oh, he says, she said, I heard you were heating things up on the court. And Kyle was like, well, I just didn't want to embarrass my girlfriend. And Vanessa was like, ooh, sit down. Is this what we're calling each other now? And Vanessa is thrilled to hear that they are exclusive. And Vanessa says they are a package deal. I bet your freak ass would. Anyways, so then Vanessa is talking to Kyle about how Deanna and Noah are getting close. Oh, and Vanessa tells Kyle that he raised a very nice man, and she met Noah yesterday, and he was considerate and thoughtful. And the best part is that Deanna's had a rough go. Deanna's had a rough go, and seeing her smile is good enough for Vanessa. She's very happy. Okay. So Vanessa is letting the newly monogamous couple, Kyle and Nicole, enjoy some time together. And she makes a hasty exit. I bet she'll be running to the casino to jump Joey's bones. But okay. So Nicole is telling Kyle how she ran into Ted and it was civil. And your locker room chatter room public like made us official. Mm-hmm. Ooh, they about to be nasty. Nicole and Kyle are so nasty. So Eva called Leslie delusional. We're back at Orphe Jeans, and Leslie said, I take offense to being called delusional. I don't know why. Eva's like, I don't know why the dozens of times that Ted has curved you. And Leslie said, how about all the times he didn't? The 1 or 2 times 20 plus years ago? Lord. Now Ted has walked into Orphe Jeans. And Leslie says, speak of the handsome devil himself, Ted, why don't you come over for a sec? He was like, Lord. Leslie tells Ted, your ears must be burning because we were just talking about you. And Eva is like updating Ted on the talk that they had the other day. And she's just talking to everyone. And Ted was like, I'm talking to my daughter when Leslie starts interjecting. Eva is holding off right now on the therapist, which I do not agree with, because she's not spiraling right now. And Ted says, if you start slipping even a little, you come to me. And Leslie said, does that invitation extend to moi as well? Girl, he was like, is your name Eva? And she's like, no. Eva said, look, I am not trying to be mean, but did you just see how dad was with you right now? How he could not wait to get away from you? I hope that message came through loud and clear. We know it didn't. Of course, Vanessa is right at this casino. For someone who works so much, she lives at this damn casino. So she's catching up with her boo, Joey. And she said there's 0% we will ever end up on a double date with Kyle and Carlton. But she's like, what about with Nicole's new exclusive boyfriend, Kyle? And Joey said, only if the alternative is with his sister or death. Joey really does not want to have any new friends, and Vanessa just wants that for him, but whatever. So then they start talking about Heather, and Vanessa wants to know, why is Heather so awful? Vanessa is saying she has been nothing but transparent to Joey, and partners are supposed to share everything. And Joey said, as a partner, I want you to stop questioning me about Heather. And she said, that's not an answer. And he said, that's the only one you're getting. You trust me with your body, trust me with this. This is just one of these things. You're better off not knowing Vanessa. Oh my God, we're at the hospital and Bill and Hayley are being absolutely nasty in this small ass bed. Ashley has walked in. She said, Mr. Hamilton, you're alarmed. Bill said, what's with y'all barging in on me like that? I'm like, Ashley's like, your alarm is going off. And Hayley's like, I mean, you lose your hearing when you're caught up in the throes of passion. Enough of this. Ban her ass from the hospital. Ashley said, Shanice already warned you. And so I'm going to remind you, we're in a hospital. We're going to keep things, not even PG, just G. Just G. Yes. So Bill is just fighting back. He said, screw this, I'm going home, just like Cartman, child. Because he was like, I'm tired of being told what to do. I'm a grown-ass man. And Ashley was like, no, you're a cardiac patient. And he said, screw this, I'm going home. Bill is, I almost want him to die at this point because I'm so sick of him being a complete and utter idiot as it pertains to Hayley or just his overall health. He's like, I'm sorry, he is too old to be running around like a teenager. I mean, is it worth your life? I don't think so. Okay, now we are back at the hospital after that commercial break. Ashley said, you're not leaving this hospital. You're not cleared. And he said, well, clear me. Ashley's like, that's not how it works. And Bill is asking Ashley if she is familiar with patient autonomy and she can't keep him here against his will. Ashley's like, look, you're emotional. You're not thinking clearly. So no, I'm not bringing you your discharge papers. And Hayley said, now you're overstepping. And Ashley said, I'm sorry, you want to give me the parameters of my job? Because last I checked, you didn't have one. Hayley said, oh, you're not going to talk to me like that. You think being Naomi's mousy sidekick is not it. I have no issue putting you in your place and report it to your supervisor. And Ashley said, oh, I have a better idea. And she is calling, I bet she's calling Shanice. She said, yeah, can you come in here, please? Thanks. Oh, damn. Okay, Shanice is at Orphe Jean's meeting Ted for lunch. I forgot, y'all. Ooh. Leslie and Eva are at the other table, and Leslie is just... and Eva's in the background like, Mama, stop. So Shanice is telling Ted about what she almost walked in on at the hospital with Bill and Hayley. And Ted is giggling. He said, is that it? And she's like, the man is in the hospital. And Shanice is like, but you weren't recovering from a near-death experience. And Ted said if he had a near-death experience, he would be trying to make the most with his loved ones as well. So he can empathize with Bill a little bit, but having sex in the hospital bedroom after your heart stopped is crazy. Ted tells Shanice he wants to meet Shanice's brothers. He's ready to take the next step. Leslie is so mad in the background. She was like, Ted will get over it. Shanice don't have the juice like I have it. Eva was like how Ted got over you. And Leslie said, what is wrong with you? And Eva said, I'm looking out for you and I'm trying to be honest. And I think Ted has finally found his person. And you could too if you stop wasting your energy on unavailable men who bring you nothing but pain. Now, why does her daughter have to talk sense into her? But we know why, because Leslie's crazy. So back to the casino, Vanessa's like, I understand you can't share all, everything with me with your business. But Heather is your sister, and there's nothing about your sister that you can't share with me. And he said, not this. Vanessa's like, are you saying there's something about her that's dangerous or illegal? And Joey says, stop speculating. And Joey is like, shut up. He said, I've explained everything that I can. You just have to respect that there are some things that have to be kept private. If this is a deal breaker for you, let me know now. I mean, Joey is right. The game is the game, Vanessa. What did you think it was? If you're not going to be like the Corleone mama matriarch who kept her mouth shut, made those meatballs and shut up and stayed out the way, that's what you're supposed to do. So Martin and Smitty are still talking. They are just talking about how they are about to be real kind of empty nesters because Tyrell is heading to college. And Martin promised Smitty a week in the rainforest after Valentine's Day, and you said you would be free after you wrote your stories, and he dropped the ball. And Martin said, Smitty said you made up with it with the Bahamas trip, which we saw nothing of. And Martin said that was a family getaway. And I love the kids, but we couldn't get loose. So it looks like Martin is about to plan another trip for Smitty and him in Costa Rica. And Smitty said, it sounds fun, but a whatever congressman can't be caught doing the unofficial, because Martin was talking about clothes optional in this Costa Rican rainforest resort. Okay. I love how Martin has learned his lesson from the past. He's really putting in the work and the effort to make his marriage with Smitty better than what it was. I mean, it wasn't bad, but after all of the lies and stuff, it did a lot of damage. So I really like how they are getting it together. And Martin's ready to plan the trip. And Smitty said, what's the rush with this being so close to the election? And Martin said, do you want to go to paradise or not? And Smitty said, you are my paradise. They're so cute. Oh, and Smitty says, Martin, I can't exactly leave town right now. Not until I deal with some unfinished business. Now, remember, Heather wanted to kill Smitty the other week. And Joey was like, you are not going to place a finger on that reporter's hair. And he forbid it. But Smitty, it might be a good idea to get out of the town for a little bit because he has no idea that he is in danger. And we still don't know what little Miss Heather actually wants. Okay. This is what Joey has been trying to figure out, but his henchmen have been dropping the ball, and Vanessa is surely mucking things up by getting too close to this girl. Anyways, back from commercial. We're back at Orphe Jeans, and Shanice is like, I don't think you're quite ready to meet my brothers. And Ted said, why? I have a great smile. I'm gainfully employed, and I clean up nice. And Ted said, none of those men are me, because Shanice said other men thought this. Ted said he doesn't scare easily, and Shanice is worth a little bit of smoke. Bring it on. He will win over her brothers. She said famous last words. I love them together. Back to Leslie. She said, I am not chasing unavailable men. Ted does not have a ring on his finger. But he's with someone. And she said, Marcel is divorced. And Eva said, is he acting divorced? Does he talk about a future? He still has a ring on his finger. And Eva's like, I'm only saying this to you because I care and I want you to be happy. And Leslie said, your daughter should not be giving your mother relationship advice. And Eva says, maybe not, but maybe someone should. And I agree. She was stressing Eva the hell out. Eva grabs her stuff and she tells Leslie on the way out, you deserve better, mama. And I agree, but Leslie is just so crazy. So she's sitting here just processing it. I hope she does not go over to Ted and Shanice's table and cause a ruckus. Cause yes, come on, fix my life, Iyanla. So Leslie is texting. Oh no, she's calling someone. Who is it? Who is it? Oh, she's calling Marcel. And she, I think, is leaving a voicemail or something. If you're still interested in me, I need you to prove it. Take me out. Just put forth some effort. Ugh. Imagine being this old and still dumb. Okay, back to Nicole and Kial. They are at the country club, still at the table, and they're just talking about how everything's going well. And Kial wants them to look back on this time and be able to remember it. Kyle's not making any predictions about the future just yet. He knows that Nicole would not want that. And Nicole's like, oh, so you're being pragmatic instead of romantic. And Kyle says, how come? Who says I can't be both? So Nicole wants to know what monumentous event Kyle has planned for them. And he said the secret has been keeping it casual. My son is playing an open mic night tonight. So I was hoping that you and I could sit in the audience and embarrass my son long enough. They want to heckle him. Well, Kyle wants to be there to heckle his son. And he said his son has a lot of love songs in his set. And so there could be some dancing. And Kyle gazing into Nicole's eyes. And she said it sounds like the perfect first date to her. And they kiss. I love it. Back to Martin and Smitty at home. Martin said, what business? So Smitty did get invited by the True Crime podcast again, even though he said no. And Martin said, you did great reporting. You can win awards for it. And he basically thinks Smitty should do it. But Smitty's like, whoever is in charge of this ring is just sitting, having dinner, like everything is right in the world. And people are getting hurt by their actions. So Martin thought Smitty was satisfied with how everything wrapped up. And Smitty said maybe it was just the exhaustion talking, but the entire point of investigative journalism is to expose the whole truth. And he needs to keep working on this blood plasma ring. He can't stop until the impaler is arrested. I'm so tired of this too. I thought we were done with this when Derek died, but Smitty is back on the case. Now, back at the casino, Vanessa is upset with Joey. She feels like there's a whole section of Joey's life that she does not have access to. But Joey's like, I don't want to hurt you, but I can't bend on this. Girl, the game is the game, Vanessa. You want to be a mob boss so bad, this is what it takes. She wants her cake and eat it too, and she cannot have that. She does love Joey. He loves her, but there are certain things he's just not going to be able to talk about. But Vanessa's like, this isn't worth ending what we have, because Joey is concerned and he said he would be miserable without Vanessa. And she says feelings mutual. Joey says, I know I'm not easy. And she said, that's an understatement. Neither is she. Her hoe ass. She's like, you accept me flaws and all. And Vanessa tells Joey he deserves the same from her. So against her better judgments, no more questions about Heather. She ain't gonna stop. She'll just ask other people. He said, excellent. And besides, there's far better things we could be doing. They have the highest libido I've ever seen on planet Earth. My God. Like what? Suck face, suck face. Oh my God. Back at the hospital, Ashley has called security. Mrs. Hamilton repeatedly violated hospital promises, so he will be escorting Hayley off of the premises. Hayley said, you petty, you really called security? And Bill said that wasn't necessary. And Ashley said, you elevated a cardiac arrest patient's heart rate after the fact. And if you do it again, I'll have you permanently banned. Ooh. And Hayley said, are you going to let her do this? And Bill said, it'll be all right. I'll be right behind you, baby. And Hayley is escorted out. Thank you, Ashley. Mm. Now, Ashley said, I am going to send for a doctor to see if it's safe for you to leave. And Bill said, I already know my answer. And Ashley said, oh, really? Because as scary as you seem to be, Naomi will come in here and tear this place up to prove a point. So Ashley is now talking to Hayley in the next to the elevator. She was like, I'm sorry to do this, but you were causing a disturbance. And Hayley said, by hugging my husband, you know damn well you were not just hugging. So Hayley tells her that Ashley and Naomi and everyone else are just doing everything that they can to keep Bill apart. And she tells Ashley, I will be with Bill until his last breath. Elevator closes. So that is how it ends. Okay. I think today's episode was a little more exciting than yesterday's. I'm very surprised that we had literally no follow up from Heather revealing herself to Andre and saying she'd be in touch, and Andre and Dani going home yesterday. We didn't see them at all. I wonder if Ashley is going to get suspicious of Hayley now that she, left with this little menacing I'll be with him until his last breath. I'm just like, please wrap this up by the end of the week. I'm ready. It's been forever. So I guess tomorrow that's what we'll see. I don't know. I guess we'll see the concert and all of those things and what comes out of that. But yeah, that was basically it. So thank you guys for watching. I will be here again tomorrow at 4 o'clock because that time works for me as a busy mom. I cannot watch this at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until tomorrow, I will see you guys then.